Thanks for joining me at the remote Coral Laundromat studio today. Ever so glad to have you with us. Hey, I just want to get this off my chest. For those of you who have not yet gone to the Coral Laundromat studio, they've done some business there for my family, and it really came around wonderfully. They remembered who the folks were walking in by name, so they made sure to greet my husband when he came in back from a meeting, picking up sleeping bags that were done. Those 80-pound capacity washing machines made a difference to get some heavy Arctic sleeping bags cleaned up. You know, the kind that you had for camping this fall, and now they might be residing in your fish house and could probably use a good washing. Take them over to the Coral Laundromat on Veterans Boulevard, just across from Cheyenne High School. They are the sponsors of our studio here for Weather and Ag in Focus, and we really appreciate the fact that they do that for us. Back from the Minot Ag Show, where lots of things were happening. Well attended, very much so yesterday. A lot of people were out and able to take in what is probably one of the region's largest grower-focused trade shows. You have folks from multiple states, Montana, North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, but also several Canadian provinces. So it is great to see all of the lines of equipment, cattle handling, solutions and input supplies. If you wanted to talk about radio systems between your trucks and tractors, etc. If you wanted to have an opportunity to talk about upcoming crop insurance changes, this was a great place to do it. In our live stream today, brought to us by Lighthouse Commodities, Addison is putting up some pictures for me. Those were from the vantage point that I had sitting in the cab of a Fendt sprayer, just looking out across one corner of one of the halls of places to stop and look around. There's probably about 5 different areas within the All Seasons arena in which you can walk around and take in the view of all sorts of, like, again, farm equipment items, input, small short line equipment, cattle handling ideas, and so much more. So if you're thinking about heading up there, you've got one more day to do it. Tomorrow is the last day of the KMOT Ag Expo in Minot. Addison, thanks for sharing those photos for me. I appreciate it.
That's
Yesterday was
right.
a little hectic. We
Oh,
didn't have time.
every day on WAG is a special experience that I'm glad I get to share with you all, and especially those who watch the stream.
So listeners and viewers don't always know the fact that Addison, the voice behind the controls, so to speak, when we get rolling for the day, he makes sure those live streams are running. YouTube, Facebook, and Acres TV. And again, those are brought to us by Lighthouse Commodities. He makes sure that all of that stuff is there for your viewing. And then he's answering the JLA Insurance phone line, 701-293-9000, where we are sending folks to bring us in road reports, where some of our guests are calling in. Speaking of guests, Addison's always got to make sure that everybody's lined up, whether they're in studio, on our video streams, or wherever they might be. And some days, like when you're me and you're at a farm show in a tractor cab and your signal isn't quite good enough for video, but you can call in and then watch the video from where you're sitting, it gets a little complicated. So kudos to you, Addison, for always keeping up what's going on in the background. It's a lot of crazy some days. And last but not least, we also have emails that are powered by superior grain handling equipment. I'm going to keep a close eye on mine today, ag@flagfamily.com, because any questions that you might be sending me, sometimes I just get comments, story ideas, and so much more. I greatly appreciate it from all of you who are watching and listening. And again, that is ag@flagfamily.com. Plus, that phone number is 701-293-9000 for the JLA crop insurance hotline. With JLA Insurance, by the way, I just want to give a highlight. I had a chance to talk to a couple of farmers in Minot, and they pointed out that as you look at your crop insurance options for 2026, there have been some pretty massive changes. Your sign up deadline is coming in the middle of March. And so don't dilly dally about giving a call and finding out what might be going on with some of those changes. They're going to get here sooner than you think. So give a call because Nate Thorsrud is a farmer himself, and he'd be happy to walk you through those changes and give you an idea of what's going to be new and that you should be focusing on for 2026. Addison was kind enough to make sure that we have weather for today. So, what's it sound like? Let's hear our forecast.
Bridgette, for all you snow lovers, I think you're going to like the forecast over the next couple of weeks. As been advertised recently, we are getting ready to go into the more active part of the LRC cycle. This is what brought us all the precip back in the fall, in October. We're just starting to cycle back into that part of the cycle over the next couple of weeks. So snow lovers rejoice. That doesn't mean we'll get hit by every storm, but our chances definitely are increasing. But not for the short term. We're looking at, well, a lot of sunshine for the rest of today. And again, it's going to be a cold one. With temperatures, single digits for highs. That's about it, and light north winds. Tonight, mainly clear skies. Might see a few scattered clouds, but generally clear. We'll drop down, to about 15 to 18 below. And then for tomorrow, it looks like a cold end of the week. A lot of sunshine, highs in the single digits. And then we'll drop down tomorrow night again to about 10 to 15 below. Then Saturday, we'll start to see the clouds increase, and we will see some snow coming in. It looks like towards evening, a better chance of snow overnight Saturday night into Sunday morning, with temperatures in the 20s Saturday and Sunday. We could pick up a few inches out of this. It looks like possibly 2 to 4 inches. And then we'll stay with temperatures in the, as I said, 20s on Sunday, back into the teens on Monday. Another system comes our way as we head into Tuesday with another round of light snow. And again, after Tuesday, we're in a more of an active pattern with a couple more storms on the horizon. So again, if you're a snow lover, you'll like it. Temperatures will finally get out of this deep freeze as we get into a more active LRC cycle pattern with more snowfall. Temperatures will generally be in the 20s and maybe even some 30s by the end of next week. So all in all, not a bad-looking forecast. Some needed moisture, needed snowfall for those snow lovers, and we'll kick this Arctic cold to the curb as we head into next week.
That weather update is brought to you by Progressive Ag. They are risk management specialists for the area, and they also work in crop insurance. So if they are your agency that you're already working with, give them a call about those crop insurance changes that are coming up. When I was in the Minot for the Ag Expo, I saw a number of seminars that are happening. Progressive Ag is hosting one daily at 10 a.m. And then our friends with Wealth Management Solutions, John Haug, he's up there as well, and he is indeed hosting seminars. His are held at 1 o'clock every day. So again, if you're going to Minot, and you might be there tomorrow, swing in to one of the theater rooms to talk about those retirement plans. And when you farm, you think a lot about your retirement plan could be land, you've got machinery to sell, etc. But where do some of those dollars go, and how do you have them available for family members down the line? This is a good opportunity for you to visit with John and make some of those plans happen. We're going to be joined by a couple of guests later today in our show, and they are with the NDSU's Saddle and Shoreline Club. We're going to be joined by Taiton Axtman and Montana Martinson. Now, Taiton has been a past assistant ag director for us, sponsored by Cass County Farm Bureau. I'm very excited to have Taiton coming back. In fact, he's going to hold down the studio for me, the Coral Laundromat studio. Well, I'm out remotely today, and I greatly appreciate the fact that he can do that. So we look forward to talking with Taiton and Montana in regards to Little Eyes, which is coming up, sponsored by the Saddle and Shoreline Club at NDSU. That'll be happening here in February, and it's their 100th anniversary. So lots of big, exciting things that are going to be going on. I'm going to throw you just a little bit of a curveball, you might say. You're always listening to see who our Vegas qualifier is going to be. Well, we're going to do that early today. Today's Vegas qualifier is Joran Flatch from Fargo. And so, Joran, I am excited to announce your name and get you started for the possibility of qualifying for the Vegas vacation. Again, that's Joran Flatch of Fargo. Now, if your name isn't called today or tomorrow, there's still ways to get around that. You can be headed to Fix It Forward Auto Care, the newest location on South University. That'll be on Monday, February 2nd, between 3 and 5:30 p.m. Again, that's on Monday. You can stop by Fix It Forward, because not only do you have the chance to get qualified for our Wizard of Oz Vegas vacation for Valentine's Day, you can also be registering for a $250 gift certificate at Fix It Forward Auto Care, Fargo Force tickets, Sweet Shots has a gift card, or oil changes at Fix It Forward. That's a lot going on. That is Monday, February 2nd, during the Jay Thomas Show at the newest Fix It Forward location. That is on South University in Fargo. What do you get when you qualify? You qualify for the opportunity to win the Grand Prize package, which we're giving away next Tuesday, which is February 3rd at Sweet Shots. And that package includes the tickets for the Wizard of Oz at the Sphere in Las Vegas, airline flights by Frontier Airlines, hotel stay, and $500 in spending cash. A huge thank you to all Sagar Meats, Frontier Airlines, and Kingpins for bringing this opportunity to you. Again, Jorn Flatch of Fargo, you now have less than 11 minutes to give us a call here at the studio on the JLA Insurance phone line of 701 293 9000 so we can make sure that you do indeed get qualified. So give us a call. Addison's waiting to take down your name so you can join us at Kingpins on Tuesday night. When we return from the American Ag Network's Livestock Market Update, we will be joined by our guests, Montana Martinson, Taiton Axtman. They are with the Saddle and Sirloin Club at NDSU. We're going to talk about Little Eye and what's going to be happening over Valentine's weekend. If you don't win the trip to Vegas, you could be doing this with the Saddle and Sirloin Club at Little Eye. We'll talk right after that. Thanks for joining us at the Coral Laundromat studio, and we're waiting for a phone call on the JLA Insurance phone line from our Vegas vacation qualifier, and that'd be Jordan Flatch. He's got just over 4 minutes left to call us to get qualified to be at Kingpins next Tuesday night to maybe win that chance for the tickets for two with all the travel included to get yourself to see the Wizard of Oz in Las Vegas. So, Jordan, give us a call. We can't wait to hear back from you. Now, we also can't wait to hear from our guests today. And again, one is returning. That's Taiton Axtman. He has been an assistant ag director for us here at the studio, sponsored by Cass County Farm Bureau. And he brought with him today Montana Martinson. Both are with the Saddle and Sirloin Club. And we're going to talk about the Little International today. So, all right, Taiton, let's get started. Give us a little background on you for those who maybe didn't hear you when you were on with us recently.
Yeah, Bridgette, thanks for having us on today. Like I said, I'm Taiton Axtman from Fargo originally, but farm and ranch with some uncles up by Pheasant in North Dakota. Have gotten a great background in ag through experiences on their farm and then working with some different companies through the past couple summers while I've been at NDSU. So, get to be all around agriculture and, really get to lead something at NDSU that really promotes that.
Oh, we're going to have a lot of questions about this. And again, for those who are listening and want to give us a call, you can do so on the JLA Insurance phone line of 701-293-9000. And then keeping an eye on my email, it's powered by Superior Grain Equipment. And you can reach me ag@flagfamily.com. Montana Martinson is one of the Little Eye princesses. And so, Montana, where are you from?
Yeah, hi, my name is Montana, and I am from Otsego, Minnesota. So I come from the great state of Minnesota, but I am a junior, and I'm majoring in agricultural economics at North Dakota State University.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit. Let's just kind of start with the big overall picture. Saddle and Sirloin Club. So, Montana, I'm going to ask you, fill us in on Saddle and Sirloin. It was in existence when I was in school, which you may think was eons ago, but feels like just last week. So tell us more about Saddle and Sirloin.
Yeah, so the Saddle and Sirloin Club was founded March 15th, 1918. Dr. John Henry Shepherd went down to the International Livestock Show in Chicago and felt the need to bring that sense of community and the need for animal welfare and animal husbandry back to NDSU's campus. So since 1918, the Saddle and Sirloin Club consists of NDSU students that are interested in involvement in agriculture, animal welfare, and all sorts of things of that nature. And it is a great club on campus for kids to really be involved and get hands-on experience within the agricultural industries. And it's a great club because you do not need to be majoring in an ag-specific major or come from that background to be involved.
Even back when I was a member of Saddle and Sirloin, largest club on campus. Do you still get to hold that title?
We do, and we are also the longest running student event. So the Little International is the largest student-run event, but also the longest standing, which is a cool title that we also get to claim.
So speaking of that longest standing event, all right, Taiton, let's talk about that. Little International. What happens? How has this been going on? You have a job to do with it. I believe you're overall show manager. So start giving us some background.
Yeah, so just a little bit of background back when it originally started. It was a thing that they were doing nationally, and like she said, Dr. Shepherd saw it as something that we should have here in North Dakota. His idea in bringing a livestock show here was that competition will breed quality. We'll be able to showcase what's new with genetics, what's new with show trends, and we'll also be able to, bring some competition to the state to try and push and evolve, when things were getting stagnant back then. Today, it's one of the most fast-paced shows in this region. We have college kids from all over who get to, have both their first experience with an animal and college kids from all over, hometowns that are incredibly skilled showmen. And to get to see them compete it's very impressive.
You say incredibly skilled showmen. Guys, I cured a ham. There wasn't a lot of showmanship in that for me. And there are students who have never showed before. They don't even have a farm background and get involved in this. Is it nerve-wracking?
To some people it is. Yesterday was the first day that contestants got to work with their sheep, goats, and pigs. And to see some of those people get the little goat on a halter.
Hold on. That had to be quite the day. I'm just sorry. I just need a moment to envision what a mess that looked like. So
Oh yeah,
please continue.
goats running everywhere. They're on their halters trying to jump away and do backflips and everything. So it's quite the experience. When you get something like that, is pretty daunting. But they'll have a little over 2 weeks now to work with their animals, get to form that bond and get them show ready. So they'll do quite a bit of clipping and shaping and fitting on these animals, as well as getting them used to being around people and walking around the ring, setting up to showcase some of their physical features and things like that. So that they might not have the most confidence today, but in 2.5 weeks when the show comes on February 14th, they'll be ready.
You only need to get drug around the arena by your beef animal once before you realize someone's got to take charge here, right? So
Yep.
that's kind of where it starts.
Exactly. Yep.
But it's not just the showmanship events. And so Montana, as I look through the list of events that are going to be going on during that weekend, we're talking about public speaking, lamb lead, ham curing. Do you want to give a few details about that? Especially when I think about public speaking, what are the topics, and lamb lead? Where's that taking us?
Yeah, so we had our public speaking competition last Wednesday after our weekly meeting. We have 5 contestants, and they got to write their own speech, and they wrote it based off our theme this year, which is Living Shepherd's Vision. So they got to demonstrate and they got to showcase kind of their background and their knowledge of agriculture, and they got to really tell and speak to the judges of what Living Shepherd's Vision means to them. And our winner, Hannah, she will get to give her speech at the Agriculturalist of the Year banquet on Friday, February 13th. And Grant is our reserve champion, and he gets to give his speech at the Alumni Luncheon, which is happening in between the morning and the night show on February 14th. And Lamb Lead is something that we're bringing back for the second year this year. And it's where different clubs on campus get to showcase their club and their student organization, but they also get to work with sheep and get to dress it according to their club or their organization. And they also get to wear wool and speak to that, and that is also judged, which is something that is super fun, that we get to showcase our other involvement on campus within the Saddle and Sterling Club and Little Eye.
It's not very often you get to highlight sheep. I mean, when we talk about showing animals, the first things that come to mind are certainly beef, dairy, probably even swine. But we sort of forget about the sheep. And let's not do that, because they have a great place in this event as well. So I appreciate hearing you say that. What we are talking about is Little International. It's being held on the NDSU campus the weekend of February 13th to the 14th. And we have a lot of other highlights we want to cover with Montana and Taiton. Things like the fact that we have an Agriculturalist of the Year that we want to talk about. There's 4-H and FFA judging that is coming up. And we want to make sure you know about all the other things that SNS does throughout the year. We will do that after the news, so stay tuned. And we have the honor of royalty in the Coral Laundromat studio today. That is Montana Martinson. She is one of the Little Eye Princesses for Little International, held by the Saddle and Sirloin Club at North Dakota State University on February 13th and 14th. She's joined by one of our former Assistant Ag Director interns, Taiton Axtman. He is sponsored by Cass County Farm Bureau, and we're really thankful both of you are here today, doing a great job of presenting all the facts and figures, you might say, for Little Eye that's coming up. Okay, one of the big things that happens as Little Eye is you have an agriculturalist of the year. So I'm going to start with Taiton on this one. Tell me more about the agriculturalist of the year.
Yeah, so Agriculturalist of the Year, that award has been given out for decades and decades, and it's one of the only ones of the sort in North Dakota and the upper Midwest that celebrates somebody who has done a lot for promotion and for making sure that animal agriculture is sustainable both for their generations to come. So it's something we take very seriously within the Saddle and Sirloin Club. And this year we elected to celebrate Jim Kirsch as the Agriculturalist of the Year. He had committed over 41 years at NDSU to research and education, as well as 37 years to being a club advisor for the Saddle and Sirloin Club. And I think it's really special that we pick somebody who has that career at NDSU, being an educator and researcher, because that really couples up with our theme, Living Shepherd's Vision. J.H. Shepherd, he was an educator at NDSU. He was the president of the College of Ag at the time for several years. And so, he had that lifetime committed to promoting and developing agriculture, animal husbandry, and now we get to celebrate somebody this year who has a very similar life story. And still continues to touch each one of us, with his work that he's done over the past 40 years and with his involvement still on NDSU.
Now, as a little side note, on February 20th, that's a Friday, I will be interviewing Dr. Kirsch right here on this show, and we're going to talk about his career at NDSU, his work that he's done, interaction with students, and being honored as Agriculturalist of the Year. So that will be coming up after the banquet and festivities for Little Eye, which Montana, how do people get to go to the banquet? And I heard you mention alumni luncheon as the largest student organization on campus, much less ag related. You got a lot of alumni who could be attending.
Yes, so the Agriculturalist of the Year banquet is at the Holiday Inn in Fargo this year, and we are selling tickets. You can find them on our social media pages, and that is the NDSU Saddle and Sirloin, both on Facebook and Instagram. We have a QR code along with the link, or if you have any questions, you can reach out to our Vice President, Karen Marty, and her email is karen.marty@ndsu.edu, and she can also help you locate and find those tickets. General admission tickets are $20 for students, and the general admission for everyone else to join is $25. And again, that is February 13th on Friday. The social is at 5 o'clock, and the meal will be served at 6. And then the alumni luncheon is in between the morning and the night show on the 14th. So that'll be held at the Peltier Complex, which is where the new meat lab is. So it'll be a great time for old family and friends that were made in the Saddle and Sirloin Club to kind of reconnect and reminisce on their memories and their time spent in the Saddle and Sirloin Club and at Little Eye. And we'll also be giving them tours of the Peltier Complex and the new meat lab.
There are so many things that are going on, and it's not just what's happening with alumni and the NDSU students. There are 4-H and FFA contests that weekend too. Do you want to talk a little bit about those?
Yes. So we are super fortunate to have the younger generations coming to NDSU and being in Shepherd Arena on Friday. So there's a whole bunch of contests that happens during the day. In Shepherd Arena, there is livestock judging competitions where 4-H and FFA students across the state of North Dakota can come and judge. There's also hippology, and there is agribusiness competitions along with agronomy contest, and a lot of the NDSU Saddle and Sirloin Club members help put that on and judge and be a part of that day as well.
So Taiton, you're show manager. How much work behind the scenes has this been? Are you exhausted yet? Is this like, you can't wait until things settle down on, say, February 15th? How does it feel?
Oh, it feels great. And February 15th is going to be a big day of cleanup, so maybe the day after that. But No, it's been really awesome. Surrounded by an excellent team. We have 27 committees that work together to put on a show like this and of this scale. So, getting to work with those people every day, it's really great. It's very it's been a very much so team effort to get this show planned and put on. We still have a long ways to go. 2.5 weeks, a lot to do in that time, but wake up every morning and sit on my phone for 20, 30 minutes sending emails and text messages from the night before or getting stuff planned out for the day. Animals are on campus right now. We have the sheep, the pigs, and the goats underneath Shepherd Arena, underneath the stands. So there's a lot happening right now. A lot of logistical things we're figuring out yet, but it's really exciting. It's been a lot of work. A huge thank you to all of our sponsors who have donated money. That was a big push back in November and December to get all of those lined up. So, that was one big thing that now we have out of the way. We have our night book made, everything like that. But, just a lot of logistics now to get ready for this show.
Well, you made mention of the fact that all the animals are on campus now because these animals don't reside on a farm. They don't reside at Shepherd Arena year round. These are coming in from the NDSU barns up by the airport, correct? So did everybody have to go get their goat and their hog and haul them themselves, or was it a little more of a coordinated effort to get them all there?
Yeah, so the beef and dairy contestants, they get to work with their animals out at the barns, but then the sheep and swine come from the NDSU livestock units, which were very graceful for NDSU for allowing us to use their livestock. They get trailered into Shepherd. If you guys check out our social medias, there might be some posts of those animals coming off the trailer and getting to see that space for the first time. And the goats come from one of our sponsors, the Knutsons, up by Fordville. So we're very thankful for them and for them allowing us to use their livestock.
This is a huge show on campus. The culmination is the Dance and the Chips on Saturday night after everything is done and people have won. Overall showman. They get to relax just a little bit. But before you get to that point, you probably start planning for next year. And do you think about other events in the region? I think SDSU hosts a Little Eye as well. So do you go to some of their events? You can compare notes about planning for your Little Eye in 2027?
Yeah. So SDSU is actually on their 103rd Little Eye this year. They had some different, background going into way back in the day, but definitely get to go to theirs. We try and bring a couple people from our exec team down there every year. Theirs is held in March, but the manager of that show, she's actually from Flasher, North Dakota. So it's good to see some North Dakota origins down at SDSU. But she's been very good to, work with, bounce some ideas back and forth with. But also, I know the manager, the person who does it down at UNL, their show is a little bit smaller, but still they do one. So that's pretty cool to get to talk to them. You just get to meet a lot of people in the community and bounce ideas off with. But then also, talking to alumni and seeing what the shows were like in the past. One of this show's, this radio show sponsors, Lighthouse Commodities, David Spickler, the Spickler family. They were huge within the Little Eye. Got to sit down one evening and visit with him a little bit about what that looked like when he was there. So you just run into alumni everywhere and bounce ideas off of them, see what their experiences were like, and make sure that we can make something very genuine, very unique for our showmen and our people who help out this year.
Oh, it's a long-standing tradition. I'm a pretty minor player in the ham curing division, but I have a cousin who also was a showman, and my sister was Little Eye Queen in her year of reign. So
Cool.
There's a lot of cool things that happen. Now, Montana, it's not just about Little Eye. Saddle and Sirloin Club, y'all have some other events throughout the year, because I think you're still doing kitty days and some of those types of things.
Yes, so coming up here pretty soon, we're going to do Egg in the Classroom as well. We just elected our 2 co-chairs, and that is where we bring livestock over to the fairgrounds, and there are hundreds of kids that come in, and we get to talk and educate them about livestock and the animals that we bring in. And then kind of following that, going into the spring, we also have Kitty Days, which is where, again, I think 4th graders or elementary students come in, and we get to, again, share and educate the animals and get to tell them stories about, where their food comes from, where their milk comes from, and how these animals are treated and raised. And it's really exciting for a club. So although Little Eye is our biggest event, the Saddle and Sirloin Club does do a lot of other things outside of that as well.
And I will add, when we bring in those little kids to Shepherd Arena, it's not like a couple busloads; it's a couple thousand we bring
Yes.
in through the course of 2 weeks. So
Mm-hmm.
we a lot of volunteers go into that. A lot of people go into making sure that those animals are healthy and in Shepherd Arena. But we do our best to keep that same theme of promoting animal husbandry, educating people, not just in our club, not just on our college, but in our community and around the state.
I think that that's probably one of the most important things to mention is the fact that we have so many students who walk through that event. Part of the reason I think that's a big deal is it's not just kids that are in public school. You have students that are homeschooled. You have other groups and organizations that want to come along. You are promoting good animal husbandry, good animal care, as you were saying, Taiton. You are also showing folks that life is not entirely a Disney movie. This is what they look like up close, but let's think further on down the line what they can do to provide for us as well. And I think teachers who might be listening, parents who are homeschooling, keep that in mind as we get to the spring. Maybe follow along what's going on with Saddle and Sirloin's Facebook page to see when those types of dates are announced so you can be a part of these activities. And I hope it's okay for us to promote that a little in advance, you guys.
Of
I know you got a lot
course.
on your plates right now.
Yes, of course.
Okay. So one more time, I need banquet dates, events, kind of a rough overview schedule, and where people go to find information, whether it's Facebook or a website page, etc. So I'm going to have Montana do that for us.
Yes, so you can follow us on our social medias. I'm also serving as the executive reporter, so I keep everything pretty up to date. But it is NDSU Saddle and Sirloin on Facebook and Instagram. And the banquet, the Agriculturalist of the Year banquet honoring Jim Kirsch, is February 13th. The social is at 5 and the meal is at 6. And you can find the tickets linked on our social medias, or you can contact Karen Marty, our vice president. And on Saturday, February 14th is our 100th Little International. The morning show begins at 8 a.m. And then in between the morning and the night show, we will have our alumni luncheon. And at 5 p.m., our night show will begin. And then following the night show, around 11 o'clock, we will have Silverado performing for our Dance in the Chips.
So because you're serving as a princess, Taiton is show manager. Are either one of you actually showing that night? Are
We
you
are not.
going to do anything extra?
No, we will be running around.
Correct.
I think that's a fair statement. Okay, speaking of running around, nobody has to go anywhere. We're going to talk about headlines. We're going to go through the weather from Dean, and I'm going to ask Taiton and Montana if they've got a few minutes. Stick around. They might want to add into some of our livestock-focused headlines for today. We'll be back.
For all you snow lovers, I think you're going to like the forecast over the next couple of weeks. As been advertised recently, we are getting ready to go into the more active part of the LRC cycle. This is what brought us all the precip back in the fall, in October. We're just starting to cycle back into that part of the cycle over the next couple of weeks. So snow lovers rejoice. That doesn't mean we'll get hit by every storm, but our chances definitely are increasing, but not for the short term. We're looking at, well, a lot of sunshine for the rest of today, and again, it's going to be a cold one with temperatures, single digits for highs. That's about it, and light north winds. Tonight, mainly clear skies. Might see a few scattered clouds, but generally clear. We'll drop down to about 15 to 18 below. And then for tomorrow, it looks like a cold end of the week. A lot of sunshine, highs in the single digits. And then we'll drop down tomorrow night again to about 10 to 15 below. Then Saturday, we'll start to see the clouds increase, and we will see some snow coming in. It looks like towards evening, a better chance of snow overnight Saturday night into Sunday morning, with temperatures in the 20s Saturday and Sunday. We could pick up a few inches out of this. It looks like possibly 2 to 4 inches. And then we'll stay with temperatures in the, as I said, 20s on Sunday, back into the teens on Monday. Another system comes our way as we head into Tuesday with another round of light snow. And again, after Tuesday, we're in a more of an active pattern with a couple more storms on the horizon. So again, if you're a snow lover, you'll like it. Temperatures will finally get out of this deep freeze as we get into a more active LRC cycle pattern with more snowfall. Temperatures will generally be in the 20s and maybe even some 30s by the end of next week. So all in all, not a bad looking forecast. Some needed moisture, needed snowfall for those snow lovers, and we'll kick this Arctic cold to the curb as we head into next week.
Well, that is our weather update brought to us by Progressive Ag, our risk management specialist. We are joined by two NDSU students in the studio today. They are with the NDSU Saddle and Sirloin Club, Taiton Axtman and Montana Martinson. Okay, we're going to have a little discussion on some livestock topics today, folks. You guys, I know, are completely unprepared for this, but good news, I promise it won't hurt. Never does, right, Addison?
It depends on the subject.
I haven't made Addison cry yet. It'll be all right. Okay,
Not today.
So let's talk about Highland cows. All right, they certainly are the social media craze as the pretty fluffy little cows that everybody loves. Now, there's a lot of reasons for their fame and fortune. People think that they look so cute in their hobby farms, they could take one and have it in the backyard to make it more of a storybook farm. Also, they are highly prized for their meat. That's the reason people like them. They have little fuss, quality meat. They thrive in rough conditions, and they're a pretty practical and hardy breed. Anybody want to take a guess on what a recent record number was at auction for a mini Highlander heifer? She was only a month old. We're going to have to think some fairly sizable numbers, so I'm going to ask for the guesses on this. So, Taiton, what do you think?
1.3 million.
Ooh, that's a good high guess. Okay. Montana?
If I had to guess, I would say I'm going to just go 1 million. Right on the money.
Okay. Addison, are you in at this?
That little cow is worth the world.
No.
I don't know.
Nice try.
750,000.
Okay, you guys, y'all probably took a little extra zero on there, but I like where your heads are at. 24,500. So that's probably like all of your annual tuition for a year, but you could buy a mini cow for that.
Yeah, we maybe put 2 extra zeros on there.
Hey, at the way cattle prices are going, you're not all that far off, you guys. Now, have you heard of a high park?
I have not.
I haven't either.
So I didn't either until I read this. The high park is when you take a Highlander and you have a cross with a British American white park. Now, the British whites are a semi-rare breed. There is a woman in Minnesota who's head of the association for the U.S. for the British whites. You don't see them very often. Of course, they have a mostly white hide with some, particular black speckling, etc. And so the appeal for these kind of obvious. They're cute, they're fluffy, they're mostly white, they have incredible markings, And actually, people really like them for the wow factor as well as for their coloration with their hair. So interesting little tidbits about the Highlanders and high parks. You never know when you guys have to have a division at Little Eye, not just for showing beef animals, but maybe now we're going to start bringing the Highlanders in too.
Yeah, that one might be a little bit out of the price range.
Yeah, at 24,000 on a heifer. Okay, I get where you're going with that. Something I'd like people to keep in mind, animal activists are truly active in North Dakota, and the head of the Animal Agricultural Alliance encourages you as farmers to take a digital audit of your operation. Check out what people are using your satellite imagery or farm photos for, and it might be to promote attacks at your own farm when it comes to animal activism. So take care of all of those things. Thanks again to our students from Saddle and Sirloin Club at NDSU. You guys have a great little eye. For everybody else, the Jay Thomas Show is coming up next.